Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the special Wednesday edition of the Talk Sports Show with host Alec Pecano. Today, I'm going to be reviewing my college football trip to Columbus, Ohio, and also giving you a preview of my 2024 college football trip, as well as my top 15 college football rankings from week number 2 and my NFL playoff predictions, as well as my dark horse NFL teams. Let's get right to it. So, as most of you know, last weekend on Friday, I flew out to Columbus, Ohio to take in the experience of an Ohio State football game by myself. It was the most amazing 4 days of my life going up to Columbus for an Ohio State game. There is some stuff I'm going to say. There's a couple places I will recommend going. One of them is, if you ever go up to Columbus, go to the Varsity Club. Go to the Varsity Club. It is the best place on Ohio State's campus to go and eat. Go there after an Ohio State game, home Ohio State football game on Saturday. Go there on a Saturday night. And the place is jumping. There's a lot of people go there after the Ohio State game, or they go because they can't make it to the game because it's either sold out or they didn't want to pay for tickets and they'd rather sit at a bar and watch the game. The food is amazing. So now flip around Saturday. Saturday morning, I woke up, went to campus, watched the band do final rehearsals for the Skull session, and that was amazing. It was the 50-year anniversary of the first time they let women into the Ohio State University marching band, and they had a reunion of sorts for that. So fast forward to the Skull session. The best experience in college football. If you go to an Ohio State game, I recommend going to the Skull session. You won't regret it. That place gets packed. When I got there was maybe 2 or 3 seats left in the whole arena for the Skull session. Now, fast forward to the game. I had one of the best seats in the house, and it was amazing. I was at the 10-yard line, on the Youngstown State sideline, the 10-yard line. So I could see all the players. I could see a few of the coaches. Amazing seats. There is not a single bad seat in Ohio Stadium. And I recommend taking a look on my Instagram, which is Alec Thomas Pecano. I did a photo dump of all the photos I took in Columbus. I recommend going and looking at it because you won't regret it, especially the video I took at halftime of the football game. Some of the best halftime shows is the Ohio State marching band. And so Sunday I woke up. I was going to go. They had soccer and field hockey. I had never seen field hockey. So I was going to go to field hockey, but then I just decided to walk around the campus more and see all their athletic facilities. The only ones that were not there, actually, I got to see all of them, including the Scene Center, where supposedly Ohio State plays basketball and the volleyball. Now, on to the breaking news. 2024, the Alec Pecado talk show, sports talk show, will be heading on the road again. This time to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for the Alabama USF football game. And I will be bringing along my best friend, Robbie Colleton, as the Robbie and Alex show will also be going on the road September 7th through the 11th for the USF Alabama football game. And I'm going to say this, Alabama fans or students and student athletes at Alabama, if you see this video, please reach out to me and I will get you on the show for an interview. Now, next order of business, here's my top 15 rankings from college football week number 2. At number 15, I have Miami, Florida. The reason I have them here is due to the fact that they upset Texas A&M. And I like what I've seen from Miami early on in the season, as they have some promise. Tyler Van Dyke looks like the quarterback he looked. Tyler Van Dyke looks better than he did last year. He looks like he's back to pre-injury Tyler Van Dyke. And that's a good sign for Miami fans. At number 14, I have Wisconsin. They got upset. They would have been higher. They would have been inside the top 10 of my top 15 rankings. But they got upset by Washington State. I still like Luke Fickell. I think Wisconsin's still going to have a good season. But in order to get in my top 10, they need to improve. At number 13, I have Oklahoma. The reason they're at number 13 and not higher is because of their non-conference schedule so far. They played legit no one out of conference. At number 12, I have Oregon. I like Oregon, but the issue is they're another team that really hasn't played anybody out of conference. They did play a decent team out of conference last week, and I think they won. But that's besides the fact. I don't think they're going to last in my top 15. At number 11 is a surprise. It's Iowa. I like the way Iowa's played this year. Cade McNamara looks the part of an improved quarterback for Iowa, and I can see Iowa going far. The Big Ten West is wide open. Wide open. And just a little hint, I will have power rankings tomorrow at 11 a.m. And you will see where I have Iowa in my power rankings. At number 10 is Clemson. Yes, people, I know what you're going to say about Clemson. Why is Clemson not higher? There's one main reason. Their offense looks atrocious. I understand they beat Charleston Southern last week. That doesn't matter. They lost to Duke when they were favored by over 20 points. They weren't supposed to lose to Duke. They were supposed to beat Duke and beat Duke easily. At number 9, I have Alabama. And for those of you that say, oh, Alec, why is Bama not in the top 7? Because they lost to Texas this past week. And just a little hint, you may see Texas in a couple rankings in a couple minutes in the rankings. But back to Alabama. Alabama, the issue I have with them this year, and the Alabama fans don't get mad at me. Your quarterback, inexperienced. He's only started, that was his second start this year. He played okay, other than having a couple turnovers. But in order for Bama to get back in my top 5, they got to win, and they got to win convincingly. At number 8, I have Penn State. I like Penn State. I do, even though I'm a Buckeye fan. Non-biased opinion. I think if anybody's going to beat Ohio State this year, it will be Penn State. It will not be Michigan. It'll be Penn State or Maryland. And Maryland's a sleeper team that could pop into my top 15 eventually. But back to Penn State. I like their quarterback. I like Drew Aller. And I like their running game with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. They can be higher in my rankings if they keep winning. At number 7 is the team everybody said, oh, they're not going to win a single game this year. They're not going to win a game. Well, to all the Colorado haters out there, where are you at now? They're 2-0. I understand Nebraska's not that good, but guess where game day's at this week? Boulder, Colorado. Boulder for Colorado State. And I think Colorado's going to beat Colorado State easily. And Colorado's probably going to move up my rankings. Just a little heads up. They'll probably move up a little bit higher after beating Colorado State. At number 6, I have Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is another team. I watched some of their game against Tulane, most of it, even though I was in Ohio. This was after the Ohio State game. I went to a bar and watched like the second half of the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss looks for real, people. I know what you're going to say. Oh, Jackson Dart's not the answer. Put Spencer Sanders in. Jackson Dart's the real deal. I know he struggled last year, but I feel like he's on the precipice of being a really good QB for Ole Miss. At number 5, I have a tie between two teams. Robbie, this one's for you. I have Florida State and Tennessee. First, I'm going to talk about Florida State. I think Florida State is also the real deal. I like Boston College, but I think Florida State is going to demolish BC this weekend. And then now we get to Tennessee. Tennessee, I know y'all struggled with Austin Peay, but I still have faith in y'all that you can win the SEC and make the playoff and the last year of the 4-team playoff. At number 4, Notre Dame. They have looked impressive in all 3 games they played this year. They've got one more easy test before they have their big game of one of their big games of the year against Ohio State next weekend. And a little programming note: next Saturday night, me and my co-host every Sunday for the Alec and Robbie show, we will be streaming an Ohio State Notre Dame football game on either YouTube or Twitch at 7:30 p.m. My Twitch is Alec Buckeyes 24. If we're streaming it over on Twitch, I will let you know, and you can flood over to my Twitch, but we're leaning towards it being on YouTube. At number 3, I have Texas. This is actually, pause, timeout. I'm going to change that to at number 3, I have Tennessee. I know I talked about them at number 5, but I'm making a little change. Tennessee is number 3 because I realized that I have another team at tied for number 1. So Tennessee is now number 3 on my top 15 college football week 2 rankings. And if you want to hear the little spiel I gave, you can go back to number 5. But number 2 in my college football top 15 rankings for week number 2 is Ohio State. I love what I saw from Kyle McCord this weekend. PSA to all the DBs in the Big Ten and all the defensive coordinators in the Big Ten: don't single cover Marvin Harrison Jr. because you will fall victim to the same thing that Youngstown State did. You double cover him, he's just going to burn you over the top. And if you single cover him, he's just going to fly past your DB. You need to bracket cover him, and that still might not work. I liked what I saw from McCord. I liked what I saw from the defense. The defense was flying around, hitting people, knocking people on the rear end. This defense is going to be special. The one thing Ohio State needs to work on, their pass defense was good. Their rush defense was subpar. They were getting gashed every other play for 10 to 15 yards on the ground. And they need to work on that because they're going to play teams that have better running backs. Like next week, this week they play Western Kentucky, which I think that they're going to win that game. But they play Notre Dame the following week, and Notre Dame has a couple good running backs. And I'm scared for Ohio State's run defense. And at number 1, it's a tie between Georgia and Texas. We're going to start with Georgia. Yes, I know people are going to say, why is Texas not by themselves? I will get to that in a second. Georgia, you're the defending two-time national champions. I don't like the SEC, but I'm not going to have a beef with y'all, and because I don't want to argue with Georgia fans. But in order for y'all to solidify yourselves, you've got to beat South Carolina. And I think you will, but I don't know if it's going to be what the final score is going to be. And Texas, thank you for beating Alabama. Quentin Ewers is the real deal. That's all I'm going to say. And my honorable mentions for teams that just missed my top 15 are Michigan and Washington State. Now let's get to my review of the Buccaneers game. I didn't really get to watch it, but I saw highlights. Baker Mayfield single-handedly won the game for the Buccaneers on Sunday. Everybody's doubting the Bucs, saying, "Oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs." I know it's weak. This is an overreaction. I think the Buccaneers will make the playoffs, and you will see that here in a little bit. Mike Evans had a good game, and so did Chris Godwin. Next thing we're going to talk about is my dark horse NFL playoff picks and my dark horse teams in the NFL. So here are my playoff picks for the AFC. The number 1 seed will go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2 to the Jags. I apologize for that. Sorry. Number 2 seed will be the Jaguars. Number 3 will be the Bengals. The 4 seed will be the Broncos. 5 Chargers, 6 Dolphins. And barely making the playoffs will be the Buffalo Bills at number 7. My NFC playoff picks. Number 1 seed will be the San Francisco 49ers. My number 2 seed in the NFC will be the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, the New Orleans Saints. Number 4, the Buccaneers. 5, the Rams. Giants 6, Cowboys 7. And here is my dark horse NFL teams for 2023, correction. My number 4 sleeper team for the dark horse team to make the Super Bowl this year in the NFL is the Los Angeles Chargers, led by Justin Abbott and Austin Eckler. I know their coach. I know Brandon Staley's a question mark at coach, but I think the Chargers are a sleeper team, as you saw, to make the playoffs and maybe win the Super Bowl. My number 3 dark horse team is the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, I know I had them finish when I did my power rankings for the NFC South before the season. I know I had the Falcons finishing in last. But I think with the way they're running the ball, I think there's a very good chance that they could make the playoffs and maybe win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs. Number 2 sleeper team is another NFC South team. It is the Carolina Panthers. I love the hire they made of Frank Reich, offensive-minded head coach, and they drafted Bryce Young. I think they have a promising future, and it might start this year with them making the playoffs. And number 1 sleeper team is the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson. I think the Browns are a sleeper team to make the playoffs, maybe win their division if the Bengals or Ravens fall off. And to finish off the stream tonight I will be having a Twitch stream with possibly having a Twitch stream. I don't know what time yet, but I will, if I do, I'll be talking about, and these Twitch streams occasionally, sometimes will go up on YouTube, sometimes they won't. But this one I may be talking about if I was the GM of the Buccaneers, what I would do with Mike Evans, if I would trade him or resign him, and if I would resign Baker Mayfield if he has a good season or not. And tomorrow there is a YouTube stream at 11 a.m. and it'll be on the NFL. I will be giving you my week 2 NFL slate with my locks of the week and my upset. I'm 1 for 1 calling upsets. If y'all didn't see the video last week, I called the Lions upsetting Kansas City. And I was almost wrong, but I was happy I called it upset because I don't think either of my locks, I know the Ravens won, but I don't think they covered the point spread. And I know the Bengals didn't because they lost. So I went 1 for 3 on my picks last week. Let's see how I do on week 2. And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the stream today. Thank you for coming out. I know I was a day late, but back to normal tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.